Today with Spirits and Gear, we check out the Helix rack from line 6. I have long wanted to get a line 6 Helix on the channel, and I am so happy to finally tell you guys and show you guys that it's been mission success. I've spent about 3 weeks with this unit, and here's what I found. I like this thing. I like it a lot. I think it sounds awesome, it feels awesome, and the amount of effects and amps and presets are really, really awesome right out of the box. Now, if you want to make an already good thing even better, the real key to unlocking the tones in the Helix is finding the right third-party impulse response, which there are millions of them to be found on the internet. And I actually found that it was a lot of fun just kind of messing around and loading impulses. And the way you load impulses on the Helix, you have an entire menu where you can load a ton of presets, and you can quickly just scroll through using the editing software on your Mac or PC, and you can very, very quickly just see and demo and preview how an IR will sound with your particular tone that you have dialed in to the unit. So with a lot of other units, that process is not as streamlined, and because that process is so streamlined with the Helix, I found that part to be the most fun, of just going through and just trying different IRs to see what they sound like, stacking IRs even in some cases, just because I like that process of dialing something in and having it, 85, 90%, and then having that impulse response take it just way past, up to 110% awesome tone. I really like that part of the tone dialing process. But we'll talk about the Helix more in just a second. Let's get to the tune. I used my custom-made Dunnable Yeti with Fishman Devin Townsend pickups, and I am tuned to drop C. I used a couple of different tones. I will isolate them and let you hear them within the track, and then bring the track back in for the clean tone and the dirty tone. All effects were used in the Helix. There's no post effects of any kind. There's just a little bit of EQ on the guitars, and even the bass tone is coming from the Helix. So without further ado, let's get to the tune. Next, instead of the normal playthrough that I would do with something like the Helix, we're gonna save the traditional playthrough for its own standalone video, because there are so many tones out of the box and so many presets that I fear this video would be a little long. So instead, what we're going to do is we are going to dial a nasty bass tone from scratch together. Let's do it. All right, we're gonna build a bass tone using the Line 6 Helix, and I'm doing this because I actually got a lot of questions regarding how it does with bass tones and can it do a good bass tone? And my answer is, yeah, it can. And we are going to dial in something other than the SVT patch I just used for the tune. I want something a little bit more, with a little bit more bite. All right, so obviously we're gonna start with an amp. Now in this case, I'm gonna start with an amp and cab. I'm just gonna keep it all nice and neat. We're gonna go bass. I don't know. I like Gallon-Kruger. For the amp, I'm gonna try something else. I think this is a Mesa Boogie, like a Mesa Boogie 400, like an old one. Yeah, see, I like that attack a lot. Now, before I do anything, I'm going to mess with the drive accidentally a little bit, but that's okay. I'm gonna mess with the cabinet. We're gonna mess with the microphones a little bit. There's no science to this. I'm just kind of messing around right now. Whoa, a lot of low in there. It's pretty woofy for this. I want to be careful not to get too woofy with this. And I'm also gonna add some low end cut because I don't want the low lows. Like I'm gonna cut it at like 44, 45-ish. We're gonna move the amp over. Okay. I want a little bit more treble. I'm actually gonna roll off the bass a little bit here. But I'm not gonna go too nuts with the treble, and I'll show you why in just a second. I'm gonna add an overdrive or some kind of dirt. I want a little bit of dirt. I want some grit. I'm actually not too familiar with any of these. I want a tube screamer. I'm just gonna pick the top one. Oh, wow, okay. That's not bad. I'm gonna turn the tone up a little bit. I'm actually gonna move these back again. We are going to add some compression. Let's use an LA2A. This is gonna just kind of level us out a little bit on the way in to the amp. This is without it. And then with it. Especially for the low string. This is in drop B right now, and the low string just flaps all over the place, and there's a lot of dynamics and a lot of low end going on, so it's pretty critical to be compressing on the way in. This is pretty good. bit more bite though, and I'm gonna go to one of my favorite EQs on the Helix. I really like this Cali graphic, which is basically a Mesa Boogie 5 band. I love this EQ. I feel like there could be a little bit more dirt on this. We're gonna go back to the amp and add it back in. We're also gonna add a little bit more treble. Pretty good. I like that a lot. We're gonna add a little bit more 6600. Now, I would dial the mids into the song, so I'm not gonna go too nuts on the 750 here. And I would also be mixing this tone with a DI, just so you guys know, in the actual track. And I will point out that I could route a DI into this tone actually, but I'm not going to do that because within the context of the song, sometimes I like to balance them differently. And just to keep them separate, it's just easier that way. I like that. Most of you guys probably want a little bit more dirt. You can do it to your taste, but I really like the bite of this. Still kind of round and fat, but it has a nice bite. And there's a new bass tone available down below in the description. In addition to all the in-box options with the amps and the cabs and the mics and the processing and all the effects, using something like this with a 4-cable method to control an amplifier is also really, really appealing to me. Using the foot controller, I could, if I wanted to, hook the Helix up in a 4-cable method fashion and control amp switching and put effects in front and in the effects loop of the amplifier and take care of, basically eliminate my pedal board if I wanted to. So that's something to think about for you guys that run a lot of effects for pedal boards and things like that. This can take up, this can take the place of all of your pedals if need be. And someone who has recently done just that is Dustin Kensu from Thrice. Food for thought. I really like this. All the presets that I've used in this video are available to download down below in the description. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure playing with the Helix over the last couple of weeks. All applicable links down below in the description. You've been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.